What's going on, everyone? It's Andres. I wish this was live. Unfortunately, it's not. It's getting pretty close to 1 a.m. on September 7th, Saturday, now that Friday's over. But I did promise you that I will do a response to your comments and questions, but I have to limit it to YouTube. There's no easy way to curate comments on Rumble and X. And on X, a lot of them are threaded. And because I don't get the notifications unless you're verified, I don't know if you responded unless I physically go look at these notifications, and I get a ton of notifications. So if I missed your comments on X, I'm so sorry. But I do recommend you follow me on X _Andres Segovia. Give me a follow over there. Help me get to be able to apply to subscriber status. I'm just a handful away as of this recording. So anyway, I'm going to treat this as a live, and I'm going to be responding to comments and questions to my videos, and I'm putting a cap at around the time after my interview with the CTO and the COO of Unplugged dropped. So the last time I did a mass response to Unplugged phone questions, that was around June 27th, and the interview dropped July 16, I think. So there was a big old stir on X with respects to that, because I did post the interview to X, and that's the biggest interview in viewership and reach I have ever done in the history of my show. Man, the reaction was huge. Graphene OS themselves saw it and they responded, and they were responding hard against the CTO and the COO, Liron and Aaron. Not respectively. Aaron is the CTO, Liron is the COO. And they did respond hard to that. And they were even posting it over on Blue Sky, where I am on Blue Sky at the Andres Segovia, verified by the way. And it made it very interesting because I invited Graphene OS and they did not respond to my invite. In fact, they haven't responded to any of my messages to them. And because of how controversial this bout was becoming between Unplugged and Graphene OS that I found myself in the midst of, I decided not to reach out in private to Graphene OS. I wanted it to be in public, so they just never responded, even though I tried reaching out to them a few times. So I try to be even-handed. There are people saying, they were both telling me that it's my duty to have them on my show. It's like, well, I can't drag them on my program, but I did invite them, so the ball's in their court. So as of right now, Graphene OS, if you're watching this, you have an open invitation to come on my show, and we can talk the privacy OS space. We can talk what is a custom ROM that you guys claim you're not, and also just the space as a whole, because you guys did a whole takedown of Calyx OS too. You guys, I think, were harder on Calyx OS than you were on Graphene. I mean, on Unplugged. That's saying something, because you guys were really addressing Unplugged. It's just that all Unplugged said is they love you guys. And I just thought it was just unfair for you guys to come at them as if they were attacking you, and they were saying that they love you guys, and it'd be awesome to be able to work together. And ultimately, that just resorted to personal attacks against the individuals behind Unplugged. So I wish that the conversation could have been would have stayed more cordial, but it didn't. But anyway, I do have a ton of comments to get through, and I'm going to try to get through them as quickly as I can. And just giving you guys all a heads up, I am super exhausted. So, great. So my screen refreshed. Now I got to go back to find wherever these things were. Because if there is a comment, I guess I should mention this too, before I start reading off some comments. Why am I covering the Unplugged phone? I guess I'll answer that one, because I saw some recent comments telling me that I got to knock it off. First off, I can cover whatever I want. It's my show. So there's that. But I also understand where some of you are coming from in all this, and I'm scrolling while I'm trying to talk to you all. It's just that some of you have asked me if I have a promo code so you can buy the Unplugged phone, and I imagine that's because a lot of you that have been tuning in have been coming over because big names like Tucker Carlson have been talking about the Unplugged phone a lot more recently, it seems, and he's doing the Tucker Carlson live tour, which I did attend thanks to Parler. So thank you, Parler. Shout out to you guys. I got floor seats because of them. Thank you. But with the unplugged phone and the plugins that I've seen going everywhere, and I have seen advertisements even on some of the social media I've been using, and even some of the videos I've been watching that sometimes run ads. They've been running unplugged ads. So like, oh, okay, so unplugged phone has been doing a big promotional push. So it's a good thing. It's a company. That's how you get out there. But the thing is, people have asked me, and I publicly stated that, well, thank you, I'm flattered, but no, I do not have a paid partnership with Unplugged, and I didn't ask for one. So even though I had private conversations with the execs over there, I didn't ask for one, and I'm not looking for one. I like being independent. Other companies have offered me sponsorships and things, but I didn't like the terms and conditions. And honestly, whenever they do that, I do feel like I'm compromising myself. That doesn't mean I wouldn't take a good sponsorship. It just means that I just, some of the things that they were asking me to do is like, I'm not going to pitch a product that I don't use. It's simple as that. In the case of the unplugged phone, I still have it. For those of you that have asked me, and I'm going to read that question when I get around to it, am I still using this as my daily driver? No, because I very publicly showed that I am using a Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 6. What a stupid name. It's the Fold 6. I'm going to keep it like that, okay? So I'm using the Fold 6 as my main business driver as I'm testing it. And it really is the longest I have kept a foldable since probably ever, because I had the Surface Duo. I did have the Fold 3 for a few days, and I passed on it because the front screen was just completely unusable for me. And I did use the Pixel Fold. I tried using it as my daily driver, and I think completely wiped itself for absolutely no reason. I had no backup. I was so pissed. That's when I used it for. I used it as a guinea pig. I put Graphene OS on it to test it out. I put Calypso OS on it to test it out. And eventually, when Samsung announced the Fold 6, I sent it as a trade-in. I'm like, this thing's just a paperweight at this point because I don't trust to use the damn thing. So I sent it in as a trade-in. And now we have the Google Pixel 9 Pro Ultra, whatever the heck it's called. Not interested. Honestly, I'm just not. I don't trust the chips that Google has been putting out. So there's some people that have been saying that why get an unplugged phone when you can just flash a Pixel device with any of the custom ROMs available out there. But don't call Graphene OS a custom ROM. They're offended by that. They're a privacy OS, so call it that. Their words, not mine. But yeah, I think I am capped. What was that question or comment? But until I see a thread devoted to, what is it? Like on XDA developers or Reddit that's fair for the unplugged phone, I'm going to keep talking about it. And while you guys are all finding my videos and really pushing these to heights I haven't seen, I did an entire playlist of videos for the unplugged phone. I just checked before coming on. At least 1,000 of you have seen the playlist? Whoa, man. That means a lot of you are hungry, and I know that one user in particular was leaving a bunch of questions on a video and then saw that I had other videos on the subject. And for like the next 2 days, just like watching my videos, and questions that were originally being asked about were answered later, and just thanking me for the research and the work. And that's why I do it. There are no forums for this. So I have the device. I'm testing it long term, because how else are we going to know if this thing is a good enough device that will last you? It's an investment. It's like $1,000 before taxes. And it's a company that's brand new. They hope to make a second phone, but honestly, they're really riding on their suite of apps. You don't need one of these to try out the Unplugged experience. You can actually go download the Unplugged store, a suite of apps for any Android. I believe it to be running at least Android 6 or at least Android 8 to be able to use it. So with that, you'll be able to get the antivirus, the UP Messenger app, the store, of course, where they have their own apps, the UP support, maybe the support, definitely the sync, and the VPN. So you can get that today. You don't need to get this. And it's a free trial for, I think, about 2 weeks. And after that, if you like it, I think you can still use it for free. It's just that if you want all the bells and whistles, then you got to pay for the service. So just letting you know that you can do that today. And if you're on iPhone, you can get the you can get the VPN and the UP Messenger app on those phones. They're trying to get the other apps on iOS as well. So it's not like you have to have this hardware. If you don't like the hardware, you don't trust this hardware, or you think the hardware's too old, no one's stopping you from trying the unplugged phone experience today. The question really ultimately comes down to you, is will you trust them? And based on some of you here, some of you that have looked at everything say, yeah, I'll give them a shot, and you're glad you did. And there's others of you that say, I've seen everything, I don't trust them, I want nothing to do with them. See, that's really what it comes down to. It's not about the phone. So just thought I'd say that. Anyway, I think I got to the point where I cut it off. So here we go. Yes, this one's from Daniel Davis 8607. These are all YouTube folks. This is there are some questions that are not unplugged related, such as this one. Some of you are still checking out my Under Armour Project Rock headphone reviews, and it just so happens I'm in my home gym, so I actually keep them back here. So this is I think this is the on the ear. No, this is the over the ear. So this is the over the ear set. These are the ones I use the most. There is like a glitch of sorts. So I've been trying to check if there's like a firmware update, but every time I connected it to the JBL app, I didn't see any update coming in. I could try to fix it. It's been glitching in a way where these type of headphones tend to have, like, if you pull your headphones down, it will do an auto pause. It's been behaving that way, and I'm just static. I'm not ducking or anything, but it would just like pause the music and like the flip, and I would have to jostle the headphones, and eventually the music resumes. So it has been a little annoying. That's why I sometimes have to press play for my watch to resume, but that's been annoying. So someone said, great review. I'm glad you talked about the clamping force and how sturdy they are on your head while facing the floor and sky. And I said, thank you for watching. This other one is more of a thread, and this is with the, oh yes. This is not an unplugged question, but it's still a relevant question today. This is the Clix keyboard. I just happen to have it with me, and I'm glad I saw this because the question by Mill335 asks, does MagSafe still work? So I did respond with the copy paste what Clix put on their website, because they wrote, Clix is not a made for MagSafe accessory. In our testing, we found that the iPhone will still connect to many MagSafe wireless chargers. However, other MagSafe accessories may not work as expected. We are considering a made for MagSafe version of Clix in the future. What customers have done is add a MagSafe ring to Clix. So I did send that, and they said, thank you for watching and for the info. You the man. Thanks, I appreciate that. I did, well, I should mention this because I did get an email today, well, when it was Friday. I got an email from Clix, and I'm going to pull it up actually because this is relevant to the conversation. So I might have to clip this out and make a video on its own because this is important. People were talking about this, and I did see this. But I'm glad that this thing came in. Wait, where's the email from Clix? I don't want to drag this out. So let me go to my global inbox. So Clix, hello? There it is. So yeah, I did get an email. It says, add new features to your Clix keyboard with the latest app update. I completely forgot about an app that was eventually launched. So I did get it installed. Once you get this thing all set up, you are able to get the Clix keyboard. And I'm going to slide this in because I believe there is another firmware update, because someone had asked me in previous, an older question, the question being the brightness value of the backlit keyboard and the dim timeout. You can actually measure that from the app, along with you can actually remap some of the keys. I have the Founders Edition, so I do not have the control button. This one was a tab button, so they do mention that. The thing is, you can even enable a battery saving mode to this. There is a power pass through here, but if it's draining your battery because you're consuming more with the like, I don't know, I guess the backlight or whatever, that's one way to do some extreme battery saver. And now let me see if they have the new firmware. So let me click on check firmware. You are running the latest. Okay, cool. And the latest seems to be 1.1.7. I'm running the app, which is version 1.2.1. And now there's something called cursor mode. So I think I haven't seen it actually work. So I don't know what they mean. Is it when I have text and I'm typing or something and I could try to highlight? I want to test that thing out. I haven't been able to get it to work, or maybe I'm doing something wrong, or maybe it doesn't work with the Founders Edition. But I'm assuming it's like the BlackBerry Passport, where the keys were touch sensitive and they acted as a cursor, because that'd be really cool. But just letting you know that yes, I am using it here on the iPhone 15 Pro, and that's been working out. So I'm glad that this one was asked. So let's see. Someone saw my video about bought the unplugged phone, do this first, and user 1-LV4EN says getting one. All right. To that same video, this one's from 4Dogs89. I've been looking into the unplugged phone for about a month. Appreciate all the vids you got here, and I'm working through them to see if I want to take the plunge. Thank you. And this is before that was before I dropped the what's that thing called? The big interview. So then they ended up tuning into that one. Someone saying that they did see my interview, now watching your update. That's from Mountain Sky Aerial Photograph 3921. Very long usernames, folks. This one is this one's from user JD-WY4TI. Are these coming to the UK? Would be very interested. Now, we did talk about a global rollout in the stream or in the interview with the CEO and the CTO. And I said there's part of it that didn't make the interview, okay? And I did say that. But they did mention that they were rolling out to Canada. They are trying to get certified to be able to release it in other countries, because you got to go through, I guess, their version of the FCC that then approves the device to be able to for sale over there. I know for a fact that the modems inside the unplugged phone will support the bands over there. It's just that they still got to do some testing on it. Okay, let's see. Next one over. This one is also to the interview response. Someone says, John Richardson, 8984. The trust issue is huge, given where the company was based, and the background of leadership and or staff. Yeah, and I responded to that one. I'm like, yep, that's why I spent much of the interview on the company itself, not the product. And that's true. I spent for the first half talking about the company, why they chose to be based where they are, and things like that, and then eventually addressed the Graphene OS controversy, which I literally learned a couple of hours before we ended up recording. And apparently they were up to date on all that, so we didn't have to push our interview. They were ready to respond. So they were like, oh yeah, we've been responding to that, so we're ready to answer any questions I might have, and which I did. So that's great. And I responded to this user, John Richardson, and I said, yep, that's why I spent much of the interview on the company itself, not the product, to which they say, well done. I'm like, thank you very much. Nicole Segovia 3133 says, thorough interview with some tough questions. Thank you so very much. And I give you a heart. That's not because I know you. No, I appreciate the comments. And this one's for the interview too. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry, I'm butchering your username. Domni Chirino. Awesome interview. My next phone will be the unplugged phone. And I said, thank you for watching. Okay, this one's a comments to my interview. This one's from Based Monkey 4558. Great interview. Don't know if I believe they can't access the phones and give the codes to the authorities though. LOL. And I did respond. Thanks for watching. Time will tell. And before I elaborate a little more on how I responded to this user, Based Monkey, it is important to understand that I'm sure a lot of you have heard about this Telegram thing. If you're up on tech, you should know about Pavlov being arrested in France. He's out on bail right now, but he's still facing charges. Excuse me. The thing is, he put out a statement thereafter because he didn't give access to French authorities that were doing some investigations and things like that. And they're kind of holding him as an accomplice for whatever happens on the platform. Really? Go after Mark Zuckerberg. You should have gone after Jack Dorsey. But you didn't, because, they're They're bedfellows or something. But the thing is that trying to access those codes, well, Signal got hacked. Okay, Tucker Carlson got hacked on Signal. James O'Keefe, I think, also got hacked on Signal. Telegram, they do have some backdoors, and Pavlov admitted it in a statement. So they have some NGOs that do handle some of the content moderation in accordance with some government official business. And that's what some people were concerned about. Like, wait, so you do? How did you not know that? I knew that. But the thing is, that wasn't enough for France, and they still arrested him. So it's not that that's what they were after. But the thing is, over here, say, I don't know if I believe that they can't access the phones and give the codes to authorities, though. There are exploits that do allow for that kind of access. But if there's like some real serious firewall stuff, then probably not. Or if it's definitely hard encryption, it's going to be really hard to get through. I mean, I still haven't heard of people successfully hacking into BlackBerry. Imagine what kind of news that would be. I mean, that doesn't mean they haven't been hacked before. I'm just saying these exploits that go around. Have you heard of a BlackBerry Priv, which was the last BlackBerry built by BlackBerry, not made for BlackBerry, hacked? I didn't hear of any BlackBerry Priv getting hacked. So just giving you a heads up, you harden the kernel. It's really hard to get in. So then I responded and I said, time will tell about if they can access the codes or not. But I think it speaks volumes of trust in seeing Sean Ryan gift the phone to a high value asset. And I put a link to that. And that was the interview that Sean Ryan did with Massoud. He's the leader of the Afghan resistance against the Taliban. And I thought that was big. So then Based Monkey happened to see that, and he says, I saw that also. Any update when it's coming to the EU? Thanks. And I said, it didn't make the interview, but I can say they are working on the global rollout, starting with Canada. So yeah, all right. So this user-GM7 and a series of numbers responding to the interview says, once I knew where the headquarters is, I trust Graphene OS now, and it has 2 likes. And look, that, like I said, that's why I devoted half of the interview to just address that. And some of you, because of the headquarters, will automatically discount it. Just like some of you discount it because of one of the co-founders being Eric Prince. So that's just your bias ultimately. And I hope you're keeping that same standard with Mark Zuckerberg, if that's the case. If you're not, then you're, quite frankly, a hypocrite. And check yourself in the mirror, honestly. Because if you're going to judge one side but not the other, I think this is being totally unfair. And for those of you that are really, really concerned, this was more on X than it was here, where they were really complaining about some of the answers that were received by the CEO and CTO regarding the source code being released, because they will be releasing source code. They're just not publishing the whole thing over to GitHub. And for some, that became a concern, which is why I pressed them on it. And when I saw that they weren't going to release more of it, that's when I said the audience is going to make up their mind about how they feel about that. And some of you were indifferent. A lot of you were like, nope, can't trust it. And as someone that, I can do basic coding. I can't read those things, okay? I'm not going to pretend to be able to read open source, but I just know how important that is for the open source community. And if you're going to claim to be in the open source community, then that means you're going to publish your open source. And that reminds me of what happened to Truth Social. Truth Social was basically using the Fediverse stuff, like with Mastodon, making their own server, and it's supposed to be open source, but eventually Truth Social locked it. And when they did that, they violated the licensing of that code, and they were forced to do open source. But to some extent, it's still kind of closed. So I just thought that was interesting. That's how it played out. But yeah, that's that. And let's see. Before I get to the comment, I want to elaborate a little more on that. Yeah, I still haven't seen them publish the code they said they were going to do for the antivirus. And they haven't launched the antivirus app update just yet. But I can tell you that they've been publishing a lot of updates to their apps. And one of the biggest overhauls I've seen, actually, was to the firmware app. So that's kind of telling me that they're working on the design language, because they're going to keep it more uniform. And also,
what they intend to do. Because if you go to the settings of the phone and try to look for like the system update, you're not going to find it there. You're going to find it through the firmware updates app itself. So this is not what what it used to look like. And now you can just tap a button there and see what firmware is, if anything, and it says no updates found. So there is a question regarding firmware, so I'm going to save the rest of my comments to respond to that question, so I don't, be redundant. But they are doing that. I did tell them recently, it's like, hey, I would like to see, and I'm sure the audience would too, at least put a change log on your on the apps, that at least the unplugged apps on the unplugged phone store. When you have a small team, I know how difficult it is to even add more work to be able to do whatever you're doing for the apps. That's exhausting work already. But at least limit it to the apps that you control, in this case the unplugged phone suite of apps. Unplugged, please put the change log there, because I have noticed that you are doing that on iOS. So if you do it over there, got to do it for Android, because then that gives you an idea. I know most of them just say minor updates, bug fixes. It's nice to know that it's there though. Yeah, I don't leave mine for auto updating, so I know when they're updating. So if you follow me on the socials, particularly on X, and for those of you on YouTube, I try to use the community post button or tab as much as I can. I do post updates that are relevant, that I feel. And I did take a bunch of screenshots when I saw a bunch of the unplugged phone apps being updated at once. So I thought that was pretty interesting, that they're getting ready for some big rollout. And I will be saving one of those announcements for when I wrap up here, because, man, there's a lot here, and I am exhausted. So thank you for staying with me. And if I sound like I'm going off on a tangent, it probably is because I am. This is a response to my review of the unplugged phone. This is from Thomas G-OG4YB. My satanic Android phone will literally not let me watch this video. The screen is black. Satan does not play nice when you're trying to get out of the lowest circles of Google hell. I did respond to that one. I thought that was funny. Just reading it again just reminded me of that. It's like, I'm like, have you tried seeing the video on Rumble or X? Maybe it works there. Let's see. Next one over, also for the review. This is from Kilch. Thanks for the video. Have you tested this on Android Auto? That's important to me as I use it daily. That's big, because Android Auto requires Google Play services. So the answer is pretty simply no. It's not going to work. I put it in my review. It's almost a blink and you miss it, but I try to keep it about 5 seconds. There's a little screen right there where it says Android Auto, and I put doesn't work sad face, I think, on it. So it doesn't work. I put Android Auto needs Google Play services, so it doesn't work on de-Google devices like this. Graphene OS itself has a workaround to try to get it to work. So that's, if you want to go like a privacy OS way, with Graphene OS is the only one that I'm familiar with that does allow for Android Auto to work. Let's see. Okay. Another one on my review. This is from IL Sedewit1. My Waze app does not get a GPS connection on both my husband's and my phone. Any suggestions? Yes, this was this is something that I ran into too. Apparently, if you give the app permissions from the app, you're not getting the full permissions. You have to go to the main settings on the settings to grant it permissions, because when you're setting up the phone, sometimes it'll ask you if you want location services on, and if you hit no, then universally they're all off, and you have to switch it on. So I put if the app asks for location permission and you grant it, the OS itself might have location access set to off. So I do give like a breakdown of steps on how to be able to do it. Go to settings, go to location, check if the toggle is set to on. Right below is the selection app location permissions. Check to make sure Waze is on the list. So that's how I got mine to work. Otherwise, you really can't use like navigation and stuff like that. Okay, next comment over. This one's to the my tips what to do if you first got your unplugged phone. Do this first. So Alex Pawak 3885 asks, do you know if you can download the USAA app on the phone? Someone else responded, Blue Corded Poet responded, sure can, tracking app too, to which that user responded, what do you mean by tracking app? Like a credit card tracking app like Karma? And Blue Corded Post responded, no. USAA has a driver app that can track and provides up to a 10% discount for safe driving. It's optional. So both the USAA and the USAA driver app are in the Unplugged store. And I give it a heart. Thank you for your assistance there, Blue Corded Patriot. I really appreciate that. This one's to the unboxing of the Porsche Design PDT-60 True Wireless earbuds. Someone asked me, hey man, I'm dealing with a problem with mine. Do you know by any chance how to fix it? The earphones suddenly identify as two separate devices instead of one, and I can only pair one of them, and only music comes out of that paired earphone. Any tips? I never heard of a situation like that, but I did give like a link to a blog that might help. But I can tell you this much. The Porsche Design PDT-60 truly wireless earbuds are one of the worst tech investments I have ever made. So I never been able to use them properly. So that's probably why you can't use them. There is absolutely zero tech support virtually for that device. Okay, someone responded to I clipped out a segment of my interview with CEO Ryan Patterson of Unplugged. This guy isn't helping anyone's honeypot worries because I clipped out the part where it is unplug the honeypot. We don't track. I mean, like we don't. Yeah, it costs money to run internet traffic, and my response was, I can totally see it's not being a vote of confidence. You just see that one clip. But that's also because you probably don't know his speech patterns. And that's why I recommend people to watch the entirety of the interview. So then you get to see the flow of the conversation and then judge for yourself if then it makes more sense the way he's presenting it, because they're not hiding from anything. They're actually inviting people to try to hack them. So just giving you a heads up about that. And this is now to the interview I did with the CEO and the CTO. This is from Green Wellness Harmony. Cheap Chinese hardware running on older and more insecure version of Android developed by an Israeli company. No, thank you. I will buy me another Pixel and install Graphene OS instead. Now, I get it, but I can tell you this much. That sounds almost verbatim the Graphene OS fanboys just piling on this interview. That was on X, that was on Blue Sky, and I've seen a lot of this on YouTube too. So the vote of confidence really isn't there, especially if you are concerned about hardware. How are you okay with the unreliability of Pixel devices? Depending on which Pixel device that you have, they all have hardware problems. You can't solve that with software issues like updates. So I just think that's a little unfair. But they are, I mean, the Pixel lineup is basically the spiritual successor of the Nexus devices, but these are not Nexus devices. I wish they were. I feel a lot better about it, but they're not. Now, are Pixels more secure than the average phone? Absolutely, because of Google Direct. But they're just entirely unreliable. That's why since the Pixel 4, I had the Pixel 4, I had the 7 Pro, the Pixel Fold. I had the Pixel 2, not the XL, just the 2. The Pixel 2, the Pixel 4, not the XL either, the 7 Pro, and the Pixel Fold. My favorite one of them all was the Pixel 2, the last one built by HTC, because that's the one that had the least problems of all hardware. But just one drop, even though the phone looks pristine, nothing works anymore. That was unfortunate. Okay, let's see what we got here. This is like a thread. This is to the do this first for the Unplugged phone if you just bought it. User-TZ8, a bunch of series of letters. How do they do with updates? How fast can they deliver security patches? And I can tell you that they did push out an update when they first launched the phone. So I think they sent me the phone in April, I believe. And as soon as I took it out of the box, there was a firmware update available for the phone. I have not seen a firmware update since. And I did ask the CTO and the CEO about that. And they're trying to push for the next big firmware update by hopefully late fall or early winter of this year. And with it, probably Android 14. So that's what we're crossing fingers for. Small team of tech guys that are working on this, I imagine. But in terms of security patches, I haven't seen one come through. I want to see at least one, at least 1.25, at least to keep up, because those are concerns. So I haven't seen any of that, and I'm giving them a little bit of a grace period simply because of they're a new company, but it's not instilling confidence if we don't see one of those anytime soon. But Eron and Liron were talking about that they're trying to get that out. I think along with their antivirus retooled app, that's been their priority. So let's see. It's been about a month and a half since the interview, and I've only seen them just push out a bunch of updates for their apps, but I haven't seen the security patches or anything in terms of firmware coming through yet, or publishing of the source code that they said they were going to do. Okay, so then that user also left another comment, and I watched the video so far until the spec sheet. Oh, this one's on the review now. This was this user first saw left a comment first on do this first, and then went to the review. Well, let's see. A SoC from 2021, last generation RAM modules from 2017, all Bluetooth standard, small battery, unknown type of flash storage, protected by Gorilla Glass 3 from 2013 for $989. I can't stop laughing at this joke, but I will watch the rest. I wonder how this goes. Did this person leave another comment? No, that was just the last one taking on the phone. Hey, that's the first thing I highlight on the review. And I specifically laid out that the privacy OS space is nothing new for those that have been around. So if someone's going to disparage this device, then yes, equally treat everything else the same way. If you want the latest in specs, if you will, that would be a de-Googled Pixel device in that space. It's just, as nice as those phones are, I just don't trust them. My experience with Google Pixels have just been entirely negative. So hopefully the Pixel 9s are better, but early reports are they are just throttling really early, as if it can't really dissipate heat properly for some reason. So just letting you know, those are the other users, tech reviewers talking about that. But overall, they just love the look and feel. The hardware just feels even more premium. That's nice. I look forward to holding one, but I'm not in a rush to get anything like that. Okay, so this next one's on the review. This is from GSNF. If I were the CCP or NSA, I would be having backdoors installed on all microchips being sold. Do any of these security companies have safeguards against that sort of thing? And a different user responded to that, named Iceman Gav1. Look up vulnerabilities in the Samsung Exynos chipsets. They have an unrepaired backdoor. Unplug post why they have selected the chip sets they did. Oh, they did and control. That was supposed to be a comma. They did and control the manufacturing seems to be a large aspect of it. So thank you for that. This is a comment on my review. Evag W1B. I love my unplugged phone is built mainly for privacy. Well, I'm glad. I'm sure the company will appreciate that review. This is for the Do This First episode. If this phone can't be hacked, etc., what carrier do you use this with, or do you insert your dual SIM that you already have? And I responded, I'm like, I don't think anyone ever made the claim that it can't be hacked. They didn't say that. But someone else responded and said, this is from Crowwaller98. Eric Prince did on the Sean Ryan show. So I did ask for a link to that episode because I know that Eric Prince has appeared a few times to talk about that, and to talk, and the unplugged phone came up. So I don't recall hearing that. I might have to revisit it, or should I just ask him myself? I put up a poll. Go check it out. I think it's still available for you to take it. Should I have Eric Prince on the show? Okay. This is from user N. Why am I even trying to pronounce these things? Cotelos. is it true this phone does not have email? This was on the Will There Be an Unplugged Phone 2 video. And do you mean app or email service? Because Unplugged has their own UP Mail app for emailing. They are not an email service. And I think people are missing that point because when we're talking about the Unplugged phones experience, you do get the UP Mail app, which is right here. And it's basically, you manually put either your POP or your IMAP for your email. It's a lot like K9. If you ever used K9, I used K9 before, but I stick to Outlook. So that's the look and feel. I don't use this particular app. I just download Outlook.com app from the Unplugged store because they do have much of the library of Microsoft apps in there because I do use Microsoft for on a daily. So just giving you a heads up that I do use it. But it's not an email service. So just letting you know about that. That's not it. But I think what they were asking is there a monthly fee to use the apps? Well, technically, yes, there's an annual fee, or you can pay monthly if you're going to use the suite of apps from Unplugged after the free trials expire. I believe some apps still have basic functionality to use for free after a trial period, but if you want to unlock all the features, then you got to pay for the service. So I don't know if they updated their pricing, but you can definitely find it at unplugged.com. Okay, question. Will there be an Unplugged Phone 2? This is from the Ricky Man 57. And this might be the last question I answer because I am exhausted and we've been going, 40 minutes? Wow, so many questions. I got to devote another one. This is volume 6. I'm going to need a volume 7. These guys keep promoting the phone, whether it's Unplugged themselves or influencers and thought leaders and other free speech absolutists that are plugging the Unplugged phone. And you guys are finding my videos. So, hey, keep promoting it. You guys are coming over to check out my stuff, right? But yeah, so I like to do this live if I can. Sadly, I just returned my Unplugged phone. I love the concept, but the transition from an iPhone to Unplugged Android style was far too complicated for me. As a computer illiterate dum-dum, I must have phone support available for me. I hope an improved and more user-friendly version is coming. Well, I can tell you, the Ricky Man, it's not. Because if you're not familiar with Android, then it makes the Google device that much more difficult. Because even experienced Android user that's either using a Samsung or what used to be LG or what used to be HTC, there's Honor, well, we know, but OnePlus, they have Oxygen OS. Everyone tries to put their own flavor on the experience that is Android. At the base, the code is the same. And if you strip away all the customizations of it, it'll look like a Google device. So the purest vanilla version of stock Android, as we call it, is the Pixel experience. But it's the pure Google Pixel experience. So I love the cleanness of the Pixel devices, the easiness, how fluid they are. But strip away Google from it, and you basically have base Android on it. And I know that the conveniences that you lose when you strip away Google Play services is already a tough order. And with this, I get it. If you're an iPhone user, you're being asked a lot. So for those of you that haven't seen it, let me check which video that was. I did do an entire stream of just responding to iPhone user concerns. And I think that was, that was my June. That was a Q&A volume 5, answering iPhone users Unplugged phone questions. So I recommend you go check that out because that's the one where I definitely devoted just time to address iPhone concerns and then show you what you must do when you are transferring from not just from an iPhone to an Unplugged phone, but like just Android in general. It's just that if you're transferring to an Unplugged phone, you cannot use the iOS to Android tool because that's meant for Google Play services. So there is a lot more work involved, and unfortunately, you cannot transfer most of your data. That's the part that sucks for a lot of people. So just giving you a heads up. And if you never left iMessage, that's the hardest pill to swallow. And when you want to have more people adopt the UP Messenger, that's what it just feels like you're starting all over again, and you kind of are. That's the whole point. When you have big tech making all these conveniences for you, that's how they get their hooks into you, because you get so used to the services and the conveniences of these things. You've given your soul to them at this point. It's literally the battery to the Matrix, like in the Matrix film when Neo wakes up and he's strapped into the machine. That's literally what you are to Google, to Meta, to Amazon, to Microsoft, because without you, they can't power these services. AI is only as smart as you let it be. And if you cut off from that, that's why they want you to store all your stuff on the cloud, because they're reading all of it. That's why they have access to all your emails, because they're reading it. Do you love that predictive text that you use on your keyboards? That's because they're learning through algorithms how you write. And it's customized to each of you. Do you love seeing advertisements that are relevant to you? That's all pattern recognition, behavior, listening to you in what you do on the daily, tracking your buying purchases, your behaviors, your rental books. Were you concerned when NSA was tracking your rental books when you were going to the library and that was a scandal? That was like 20 plus years ago. Was that disturbing to you? Why is it not when Google does it, when Facebook does it, Instagram, that's all Meta, or Amazon does it through their Echo devices, their Ring cameras and all that? They're listening and watching everything you do. And you seem to be okay with it. That's why I say, if you're going to apply, I don't trust Unplugged because of where they're headquartered or who's behind it, but you're okay with all this other stuff happening, you're quite frankly a hypocrite. So unless you are using nothing short of a Linux device and building your own apps, you have really no backing to your say. Your opinion means nothing, honestly. So I say, if you're going to criticize Unplugged for this one thing, like a lot of tech users do, then you got to hold the other side accountable. If you're not, then you're just showing your biases. And that's how I truly feel, unfortunately, about Graphene OS. There's a lot of this bias at Graphene OS. I love what they do, what they're doing for the privacy OS space. It's not a left or right issue. There's a lot of liberals and leftists and Democrats that work in tech, and for some reason they have both concerns about privacy, but they're also part of the big tech oligarchs. So like, okay, pick a lane because you can't be both. But anyway, the point of it all is that I love for us to be able to have more of these options. And like I said on my interview with the CTO and the COO, it would be nice if Unplugged can you can flash other operating systems on it, maybe because they said, hey, they reached out to Graphene OS, we would love to work together, and Graphene blew them away. It's like, get away. And then they resorted to insulting them. And I'm like, what the hell? And then Graphene OS goes on to say that Unplug attacked them. And it's like, dude, everything is published. Anybody can go see it. Read the full threads for yourself. You can see who launched the first attack. That was Graphene OS. Unplug didn't say anything against Graphene OS. They were singing their praises, telling how much they loved them and they loved to work together. And that's not how... I just hate that all that crap happens. It just feels like you're dealing with left and right politics. That's literally what it felt like. So call them a grifter you want, whatever. They're literally telling you and inviting you to go. If you're a security, if you have security background, you can go check white glove their code if you want. If you really are that concerned about it, they're inviting you to do it. They're not hiding from you. And like I told them, it's like, man, you guys can do everything right. I just think people are just gonna hate you guys because of who you are and whatever. That's it. That's really it. That's what I told them. So yeah, I think it's just unfair if you're treating Unplug one way and not the other way. And I didn't know it was going to come down to this for me. I guess because I take it a little personal in a way, because I was judged that way. Whether it's religious politics or politics, or even in tech, the tech space, when a lot of people wanted to become a YouTuber. I became a YouTuber by accident. I didn't want it. And then my channel took off. I just wanted to be that voice for BlackBerry because the big dogs weren't doing it justice. And when you have MKBHD, you can't even get the specs right on BlackBerry Prib, but trashes the Prib. You know how much weight his word has? That basically sunk the phone. Not to mention that BlackBerry kind of did it to themselves, but it's not entirely their fault because Snapdragon really botched the 808 rollout. If BlackBerry had waited just a little longer, but they had shareholder pressure, if they had used the 810, the 812 Snapdragon, we would not be complaining so much about the overheating issues on the unplugged phone. But BlackBerry and LG suffered because of it. I think it was the LG V30 or is it the V10? That I think it was the V10 that had the 808 Snapdragon chipset. It sunk those phones. They were great hardware devices powered by a very faulty Snapdragon Qualcomm chip. It wasn't them. It was Snapdragon that sunk it. So yeah, just throwing it out there. This kind of stuff happens. So when you have an upstart company that is not being given a fair shake in the space, literally controversial just because of who was behind the project, or the men behind the project for like at least 2 years, then it was destined to have an uphill battle against the powers that be. And I love a good underdog story, and I just happen to be along for the ride. But that doesn't mean I wouldn't hold them accountable. I haven't seen the open source code be published to GitHub. They said they were going to do it. That was published on July 16th when I did the publishing the interview. But they haven't. I haven't seen anything, at least on their side. I haven't seen the website that they're promising for the Unplugged store to be able to browse it from the browser. They do have the Unplugged Messenger, though. You can see that on their website at unplugged.com. And their Twitter or X account was teasing that within the next few days we should be seeing a special section on their website. I believe it was tailored more so to iPhone users, and I hope it is, because like this comment is coming from an iPhone user. I literally said that to them before filming, and I said, "Hey, look, guys, when I did my early videos of the Unplugged phone, I was coming at it in response to people in the tech space that are familiar with Android. I neglected to take into consideration iPhone users. That's why I devoted the Q&A Volume 5 for iPhone users." And when I did that, it's because I felt it was a little too late too. Because I'm like, I feel like I neglected them and I should have known better, because I had people telling me in private, some celebrities and singers and things like that were telling me that they want to make that plunge, but they're just gripping onto the iPhones, you take it from my cold dead fingers. It's like, I know, asking you guys to literally leave the walled garden is like stepping out of a cult, quite honestly. So I'm like, I need to devote an entire stream just for iPhone users. They've been neglected this whole time. So I told it to Unplug when they asked me, and I'm like, well, here's some feedback. You guys need a section on your website just devoted to iPhone users, because they're making the biggest leap of faith here, and they're going to have the hardest time to adjust. And I'm assuming a lot of your support tickets are coming from iPhone users. And if anyone's returning them, they're probably like this user, they're iPhone users. And they're like, that's exactly what they're working on, iPhone specific information and things like that, because a lot of their support tickets were coming from iPhone users. Like, how do I do this and how do I do that? Because Android's a whole new experience to them. So and there's a lot more questions. I'm going to cut it off here, but the Rickman's 57 will be the last one. Okay, fine, I'll answer this one, then that'll be it. This was to my video, do this first. Mr. Jorian, because I did see users commenting on my videos recently about this very thing. Can you load an APK on this phone? I'm like, yes. It's an Android phone that you can sideload. And on that very video, do this first, I literally show you that I am doing that. I'm showing you that I sideloaded the Amazon App Store. I sideloaded the F-Droid Store. You don't have to sideload the F-Droid Store because it's all available on the Unplugged Store. Aurora Store, which is a third-party Android app store, is available on the Unplugged Store if you still want to use that. And yeah, so it's there, and that's really sideloading. But if you want to manually sideload an app, just remember, you have to give it all the permissions to install from unknown sources. So when you do that, you're kind of letting it bypass a firewall. Because there's these protections for like, hey, we don't know this. The app is not signed. Are you sure you want to install this? It could be an exploit. So those are the risks that you take. Android gives you that freedom to do so. It's a risk that you choose to take, and well, you take the plunge. But remember, if you're buying this for privacy and security, you're not really trying to mess with it in that way. So like someone else said, you install what? On a phone that's supposed to be secure? Are you crazy? I'm like, I'm testing it for you guys, man. How else will I be able to answer these questions unless I do it? So yeah, so I'll cap it off here, and I'll pick up on some other stream. And maybe I'll be able to do it live. Who knows? And I'm sure a lot more questions are coming in because I haven't seen them over the past 36 hours. I'm like, whoa, where are all these people checking my stuff out? I appreciate you all. Thank you so very much. And that's where I'll leave it. Holy smokes, it's almost 2 a.m. No wonder the wife's texting me. He's like, where are you? But I owed it to all of you. And now, man, I am running on fumes. But anyway, that's where I'll leave it. I'll see you guys in the next one.